I'm honored that you should come to me.
How are the Talmberg folk getting on? Is it peaceful here?
Do you even have to ask? Some poachers have settled in the woods near the inn. A right band of them too. The master huntsman's at his wit's end with them. And maybe he could use your help.
How are the Talmberg folk getting on? Is it peaceful here?
Things here are not too bad at all.
Hey! Watch out!
God save you.
Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Skalitz lad, aren't you? Sir Radzig's lackey.
That'll be me.
Right. I saw you here shortly after the attack. My word, to get away from Talmberg like that, quite remarkable. It's clear you're not easily scared. So I do have a job for you.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place. But no sign of the bastards who put them there.
And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Shouldn't you be dealing with the poachers yourself?
I should, you're quite right. But when I ask the local folk anything, their mouths close up like clams. They're more scared of me than the devil.
Do you think the locals are in on it?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But even if not, they'll never talk to me. They're scared I'll dig some skeleton out of their cupboard. You know, the smaller the village, the bigger the secrets. That's why I need an outsider to ask for me.
I understand. I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks for your help, lad.
God be with you.
Good health to you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That old gossip will tell you all there is to know. God be with you.
Good morning.
I heard there are poachers in the woods round here.
If only if it was just poachers. It's that sorcerer Hare. He's the one who's been running amok. I said he'd be back, and I said he'd be vengeful, and I was right both times.
Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day. No one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of master huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
And how did his sorcery reveal itself?
Well, he was able to vanish into thin air in the forest right in front of folk. And I've heard it said he spoke to animals, too, though I don't know the truth of it.
That doesn't sound very convincing to me.
That's because you've not seen his marksmanship. It wasn't natural, the things he could do with that bow of his. They say he sold his soul for the gift of it.
I see. How did it go with Margaret?
I'm not one to gossip, but she was a flighty lass in her younger years. She could never make up her mind which one she wanted, the Hare or Nicholas. So in the end, fate decided for her.
What do you mean? What happened with Hare?
Oh, that was quite something. And then some on top of it. Sir Henry of Lipo was visiting here at the castle, and Hare snapped his guardsman's neck with his bare hands. Of course, they found him out. But how do you keep a sorcerer under lock and key? You can't. That's your answer. And that Satan spawn slipped the net.
Oh, well, it's quite a wild story. Any idea why he murdered the man?
No one knows, and most likely never will. But they say he was fully in the devil's power. There was a full moon, you see.
Was he actually seen killing the guardsman?
I suppose so. Else they'd hardly know who did it, would they?
That's probably true. There is one other thing I want to ask. Has anyone actually seen this Hannikin Hare? He seems to exist only as a bogeyman to frighten naughty children.
Oh, he exists all right. But he flits around in the forest like a shadow. They won't be catching him anytime soon. But Blacksmith's Betty heard some of their goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Cavorting and raising hell. Sorcery! Hare meets up with his sorcerer's apprentices, and they feast in the clearing in the woods. In the morning, they turn into ravens and scatter. Or so she says. But you'll have to ask Betty for more. Who knows what she saw? Or what she was doing there with them?
Very well. I'll ask. Tell me something about Hannikin Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He claimed up at the castle.
There is one other thing. Who does Hare want revenge on?
Master Huntsman Nicholas, of course. When the hare disappeared, Nicholas took his Margaret and the huntsman's posting.
So Nicholas came out of it well?
That one always knew how to land on his feet.
Thanks. I think I know all I need.
Take care.
What do you think about all the poaching lately?
What should I be thinking? If they ever catch them, Sir Divish will have them skinned alive. But for that to happen, our master huntsman would have to be made of sterner stuff.
Do you think Nicholas isn't doing enough?
A master huntsman who lets poachers run wild through his woods? He's useless. He couldn't even stop them hanging a stag's head on his own house.
Right. Folk are talking about Hannikin Hare.
Oh, good Lord. People do like to prattle on. Don't you go believing a word they say. It's the back of beyond here, and they'll tell any tale to spice things up a bit.
Thank you, innkeeper. I'll be going. I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. God be with you.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions. Take care.
on there? Well, I never. I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game.
I don't know anything about that, but if it's gossip you're after, go and speak to Brada, the tanner. He always spins a good yarn. You'll find him at the end of the village. It's the last house on the way to the quarry. Good luck, then.
Jesus! God's blessings.
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day. Hannikin Hare's back. And putting those antlers on Nicholas's house? Well, we all know what that means, don't we? It's the sign of a cuckold, you mark my words.
You mean to say his wife's cheating on him?
All I'm saying is she might be feeling the urge. It happens in the best of families.
Who's this Hannikin Hare, anyway?
Hannikin Hare? There was a time he was master huntsman here, and Margaret was set to be his wife. But then he got himself accused of murder, and fled before they could hang him. Margaret and his job both ended up going to Nicholas.
So what went on between Hare and the huntsman?
Those two? There was no love lost between them from the moment Hare arrived. And then Margaret got involved. It was a messy business.
Do you think Hare really killed that man?
Who knows the truth of it now? I did find it all a bit odd. Hare never was much of a hothead. But then again, no one really knew him that well. And Margaret never wanted to speak of it. Wouldn't hear a word about it.
So what's the story between Hare and Margaret?
It was complicated. He wanted her and she wanted him too, I reckon. At least for a while. But then she hitched up with Nicholas and now she says she never had a thought of wedding Hannikin Hare.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumours.
Well now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it. But better the devil you know. And everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
You were singing a different song not long ago.
So? Why do you want to know so much, anyway?
It's nothing to you, but I'm helping Nicholas unmask that local poaching gang.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. And you also know not to keep anything from me. So, what's the story with that Hare?
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can, but I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to?
And what did they speak about?
I don't know. But if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no. Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return.
Well now, I wouldn't say I'm...
Stop trying to wriggle out of it.
No.
But you know who Radzig Kobyla is?
Of course.
I'm his right-hand man. And I'm helping the hunt.
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But
I'll do what I can.
it's to do with Margaret, his...
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because...
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she...
And what did they speak?
I don't know.
You're sure she wasn't...
Oh no.
That's all I need. Thanks. I've got a few questions about these
So ask.
I heard you saw something fishy in the forest.
That's right, I did.
Can you describe what you saw?
It was after dark, I remember that. I went up past the castle along by the clearing, and I saw someone had lit a fire, and there were figures singing and dancing, and I could hear the whistling of a pipe. And I could smell roast meat. It was like a feast of some sort. Only I thought maybe it was some witch's sabbath, so I was afraid to stay too long in case they saw me.
Did you recognize anyone there? Someone from the village, maybe?
No. Like I said, it was dark. All I could see was shadowy figures moving around.
Did you hear any familiar voices?
No. But I heard girls' laughter, goblets clinking, a piper playing. It sounded just like any feast.
Where is the clearing?
A short walk north of the castle. There's a track past the woodcutter's camp that takes you there.
Thanks. What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day. Hannikin hare's back.
That's all I need. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left. God be with you.
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
I heard you have poacher trouble.
Certainly do. They're running wild around here, and they kill a lot more than they take. Many a time I've seen a carcass just thrown in a ditch.
Why would someone just toss their catch in the woods? It doesn't make sense.
The wagging tongues say they're just doing it to spite the huntsman.
Why would anyone want to take revenge on the huntsman?
He's not the best-liked man in the village. We all know that. And then there are those who say Hannikin Hare is back.
Who's Hannikin Hare?
You're not from around here, are you? The hare's quite the Talmberg legend. He used to be master huntsman here once, but then he ran off.
Why did he run?
Well, it just so happens I know the answer to that. Some big important nobleman came to Talmberg around then, and they made a grand occasion of it. And in the midst of it all, Hare had a falling out with some man-at-arms and knocked him in the moat. The poor bugger broke his neck. They picked the hare up, but before they could take him before the court, he vanished.
Where did he run to?
No one really knows. They say he's hiding in secret tunnels beneath the castle, but that's all fairy tales. It's been years. As I see it, he's underground all right, 6 feet down and cold.
Why take revenge on Master Huntsman Nicholas?
Because of Nicholas's wife, Margaret. Hare had his eye on her back then, but she didn't care for him and he was fuming. Well, and after he disappeared, Nicholas got his post.
I want to ask about something else. Do you have any idea who the poachers could be?
If I knew, the bastards would be strung up by now.
Ah, don't tell me you've heard nothing at all.
Well, I did hear that Thomas, that fellow who works at the bathhouse, was mouthing off recently, saying he'd go and bag himself some game and lay on a right feast for the village girls.
I see. Has anyone seen those poachers with their own eyes?
No, just the dead game they leave behind. But Blacksmith Betty saw some goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Well, that's what she said, and I ain't one to pry.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
God be with you.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
Blacksmith Betty saw people feasting in the woods, and she says there was a nice smell of venison. What do you know about it?
Nothing. I wasn't there.
And I don't suppose you'll tell me who was?
No, because I wasn't there.
I heard you were yelling in the tavern that you were off to hunt some venison.
Look here. I don't know who you are, but you should watch your mouth.
I will, don't you worry. So what happened then?
What? Nothing. It was just the beer talking. I got pissed and started spouting shit. Didn't mean a word of it.
Maybe not. That remains to be seen. That'll do me. I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you.
Take care now. Hey, what are you doing here? Clear off quick or I'll throw...
I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you.
God be with you. Hey, who's there?
Yeah.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best...
I'd like to ask you about Hannikin Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well. You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hannikin Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want him? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
What did you talk about in the woods with Hannikin Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hannikin Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hannikin Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
I want you to hang that garland on the lodge.
But I don't want to go anywhere with him.
You don't have to go anywhere. But tell me, where's that secret meeting place of yours?
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn. What are you going to do to Hare?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well, then. I'll hang the garland for you.
That'll be everything.
God be with you.
Hey, twat face.
Goodbye.
A tankard of ale for me.
God be with you.
Have you heard about anything interesting going on lately?
Just some talk about lost sheep and indecent wenches. Probably nothing to interest you.
Maybe later. I was thinking of something more in the line of work opportunities.
I don't really have anything specific right now, but I did hear about something interesting from one of your neighbors.
Who?
I don't know his name, but it was about as old as you. He said his family owned the Skalitz tavern.
Young Adam, then. And the interesting part?
He decided he wanted to go back home, see the damage he saw, and someone looted it right in front of his nose.
I know. I've met those scavengers before. It's not that interesting, just sad, really.
Well, it certainly isn't Christian. But the thing is, they were hiding money in that cellar of theirs.
I'd like something to eat.
And did he say where he was going?
He said he's going to Ratai, that he has some arrangements there.
It won't be easy to find him. Ratai's a little overcrowded nowadays.
Then you'll have to ask someone, won't you? Bloody hell. Do you want me to hold your hand while you do it?
I'll be on my way then.
Go. Go. And ask him when you see him. Maybe you'll think of something.
Would you know of any way I could earn a bit of coin around here?
As it happens, I was just going to tell you about a job.
So, tell me.
Now and again, the fisherman from Talmberg comes around here with some game to sell. There's more and more poaching going on there, and they're always looking for new people, if you're interested.
That won't be for me.
As you wish. Come back if you change your mind.
Yeah.